What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we got some breaking news. Undefeated, unified, WBO, IBF, WBA, WBC, franchise champion, Ring Magazine, superstar, unified lightweight world champion, Teofimo Lopez. He bet big on himself and he won big on himself. He went to a purse bid with his IBF mandatory challenger, an undefeated Australian superstar lightweight title contender, George Kambosos Jr., because he went to Top Rank, legendary promoter and CEO of Top Rank, Bob Arum, and ESPN, and asked for his minimum of $1.25 million to defend his titles against his IBF mandatory challenger and George Kambosos Jr., and Bob Arum wasn't willing to pay it because Bob Arum, he stated that it just wasn't a big lucrative fight. It's just not a big fight, okay? He didn't want to fit the bill for a fight of this magnitude. With that said, it went to a purse bid this morning, and guess what? Top Rank, Matchroom, they were both outbid. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom CEO and promoter, and Bob Arum, they were both outbid. Bob Arum, he put up $2.5 or $2.3 million for the purse bid, and guess what? Mike Tyson's Triller app, they came through enormous and dropped $6 million on it. They put up, you heard me, they put up $6 million. So Teofimo Lopez, he bet on himself, he bet big on himself, and I stand corrected. Teofimo Lopez will earn at least, from what I'm hearing in the reports, $4 million, and George Kambosos Jr. can earn $2 million. Or that's up to. Teofimo Lopez can make more than $4 million, okay? With that said, Teofimo Lopez, 16-0, 12 wins by way of knockout. He's 23 years of age, stands at 5'8", 68 and a half inch arm reach. He last fought against Vasyl Lomachenko, 3-division world champion, former 2-time Olympic gold medalist, who was unified lightweight champion. That took place October 17th of 2020. And Teofimo Lopez, he won the fight. It was an upset. Lomachenko was the favorite. With that said, Teofimo Lopez, he was offered $4 million to fight undefeated WBC lightweight world champion superstar boxer Devin the Dream Haney, but he opted to go in the direction of fighting his IBF mandatory challenger. And most people, we looked at it and said, you turned down $4 million to petition for 1.25 from Bob Arum and Top Rank to fight a mandatory challenge that you didn't have to fight. Well, Teofimo Lopez, my people, he knew what he was doing. He bet on himself, and now we have Triller. They come out and they bid $6 million. So the bottom number Teofimo Lopez is scheduled to earn is $4 million. Obviously, it could be more than that. He can make 4.5, and George Kambosos Jr., he could earn 1.5, okay? Or Teofimo Lopez gives him $2 million. I don't know how it's going to be divvied out, but I do know that Teofimo Lopez, he bet on himself. He knew what he was doing. Now, I'm not in agreement that he's fighting George Kambosos Jr., his IBF mandatory, if he didn't have to go that route and he could have fought Devin Haney for the same amount of money. Obviously, the risk is not the same as the reward, okay? George Kambosos Jr., 19-0, 10 wins by way of knockout. He's 27 years of age, stands at 5'9.5" with a 68-inch arm reach. Last time he was seen in the ring was Halloween, October 31st. 2020, when he defeated Lee Selby via split decision, okay? Obviously, George Kambosos Jr., he doesn't represent the same challenge that undefeated WBC lightweight world champion superstar boxer Devin the Dream Haney represents, okay? So if Teofimo Lopez is scheduled to make $4 million versus George Kambosos, and we know, I saw Teofimo Lopez, he did an interview, he said he don't know where the $4 million offer came from with Devin Haney. That's just not true. Well, it is true, because his father was on the same platform that he was on and interviewed with Bill Haney, father, trainer, and manager of Devin Haney. And he offered, if we come up with $4 million, Bill Haney said, for a fight with Teofimo Lopez, would you take it? And Teofimo Lopez Sr., father, trainer, and manager of Teofimo Lopez Jr., he stated that he would accept $4 million if they could come up with it. He says, but if they could get $10 million to fight George Kambosos Jr., they were going to go the route of taking $10 million. Well, they're going to take the same $4 million that they would have got to fight Devin Haney to fight George Kambosos Jr., not $10 million. But nonetheless, he still bet on himself and against Top Rank. Okay, and Bob Arum's wishes. Bob Arum stated that he colluded with George Kambosos Jr. behind Top Rank, ESPN, and Bob Arum's back. And Bob Arum essentially said that we'll see and revisit that. That's not the right thing to do, not the right way to handle business when you have a promoter. But we'll see and revisit that because he signed to us for 3.5 more years when he's looking for big fights in the future. Okay, so we understand what that means. Devin Haney, 25-0, 15 wins by way of knockout. He is 22 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 71-inch arm reach. Last time we saw him in the ring was November 7th when he took on Yuriorkis Gamboa 2020, and he won a unanimous decision victory. With that said, looks like we're going to see Devin Haney back in the ring sometime in April, maybe April 24th, against Jorge Linares, former multi-division world champion superstar boxer. So with that said, obviously, if you're going to get the same money to fight George Kambosos Jr., it's a low risk, high reward. Fighting Devin Haney for the same amount of money is a high risk with the same reward. Okay, so obviously Teofimo Lopez, he opted to go the route where he could get the same amount of money without the high risk. Okay, without taking the same chances and run the risk of losing to Devin Haney. Okay, that's abundantly clear because the IBF, they stated that Teofimo Lopez did not have to. They were not going to strip him of the belt if he informed them and petitioned that he wanted to have a interim fight. They would have pardoned him and gave him an exemption to allow him to fight Devin Haney. Also, his manager uttered the same sentiments that if Top Rank and ESPN and Bob Arum wasn't happy, they could have petitioned the IBF to get an exemption, a pardon, so he could fight a different fight. So we know he chose to fight this fight with George Kambosos Jr. As Bob Arum stated, George Kambosos Jr. and Teofimo Lopez, they were in collusion, allegedly, to get as much money as possible with a low-risk fight. Bob Arum doesn't believe that George Kambosos Jr. is a good fighter. He says that, he's just not a good fighter. He just doesn't view him as a high-profile fight or fighter. Okay, he don't believe in his skills. So with that said, Devin Haney, Bob Arum, he stated that, a sizzling fight against Devin Haney would have been more suffice, and worth the big money. So Bob Arum just wasn't willing to put up the big money necessary to get a deal done for George Kambosos Jr., Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, he makes the bottom line of 1.25 because he defeated Vasyl Lomachenko, and he's the unified lightweight world champion. It would have been an official undisputed showdown if he would have took on Devin Haney, okay? And like I said, Teofimo Lopez, he's saying he don't know where the $4 million number came from. Well, it came from his own father, trainer, and manager, and it's Teofimo Lopez Sr., who stated that, they would accept $4 million to fight Devin Haney if they could come up with it. But he said, in return, if we could get $10 million to fight George Kambosos Jr., we're going to go that route. Well, they're going to go the route fighting George Kambosos Jr., and they're not going to get $10 million, but they will get upwards of $4 million. So that's still a huge number. He bet on himself, and he got big money, okay? Bob Arum, he did state that it wasn't wise for Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn to bid on this fight because with high money, because Teofimo Lopez is essentially still signed to them for another 3.5 years. So even if he goes to another platform like Triller, he's still going to have to come back to ESPN. So essentially, this is a moonlight situation. But he is going to get big money for this moonlight situation with his IBF mandatory George Kambosos Jr., who is relatively unknown here in the United States. Now in Australia, he's a big deal. He's a superstar in Australia, but they're not going to fight in Australia. They're going to fight here in the States, okay? And then now they're going to be fighting on the app. But Trilla hosted the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones showdown, which was huge, okay? It did 2 million pay-per-views. So now we're going to get, Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. on the Triller app. So it's not going to get the most exposure for Teofimo Lopez or George Kambosos Jr. because neither guy is a high-profile, global superstar like Mike Tyson is or Roy Jones Jr. is, okay? There are two iconic legends in the sport of boxing, and they spilled out outside of their sport of boxing into, the casual world, okay? So you have, casual fans, global icons, they're recognized globally, okay? So when you announce that they're going to fight each other and put their two names on a piece of paper or on a flyer, it's going to do huge numbers. With that said, nobody knows who George Kambosos Jr. is, and very little people outside of the hardcore boxing fans within the sport of boxing know who Teofimo Lopez is. So with that said, this is a huge fight, on the part of, this is a huge win on the part of Teofimo Lopez because, like I said, he's going to get, a high reward for a low risk. If he would have took the same amount of money for fighting Devin Haney, it would have been a high risk for the same reward. So Teofimo Lopez walks away winning this. His profile is not going to get any bigger. This fight is not a high-profile fight, and on Triller app, it's not going to get that much exposure because this Triller app is a newfound app. But one thing I can say about the Triller app, they were promoting very well the Tyson and Roy Jones. So I'm expecting them to promote this Teofimo Lopez-George Kambosos Jr. fight. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share your videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.